You don't wanna see me in the street. Get down. Packing word instead of packing heat. I'm a soldier. Hey. Soldier. Hey. Soldier.
Well, Dr. Richie, welcome back. The Chopping Block. Hey, tune in and make sure you share because you care. Tell everybody about the Chopping Block with Dr. Richie and The Chief. And we're so happy it's been a minute, but we're back to talk about all your favorite subjects. Tonight, I think we're going to talk about relationships.
Man, it's so good to be back, bro. I mean, I know a lot of planning went into being able to get this episode rolling, but man, it's just so cool to be back with you in the Chopping Block. Man, I know we've been doing our own thing. You did bedtime stories and you did some other cool stuff, and I did Lives Matter. That's still going to be happening, but this is like the home thing. This is our main thing on the Dr. Richie and the Chief channel, the Chopping Block. So you guys subscribe to us, tune in, like if you dig it, and if not, hate on us and talk bad stuff too, whatever. But we just love putting it out, and so it's just a blessing to be with you, bro.
Good, yeah. Talking about relationships tonight, and I mean, if you're drinking some haterade and you're hating on the way Richie looks or the way I look or what you heard about us, what you didn't hear about us, or wondering who the heck we are just from the outside appearance, hey, we love you. Anyway, relationships. There's so many different types of relationship in this world. When somebody says, hey, are you in a relationship, Richie? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
It's complicated. People always respond. But it's to me, this is the most important thing in life is relationships, because things come and go. Your house could burn down and you could lose everything. If someone dies in that fire, that's the tragedy. But relationships is all that it's about. And partly from the walk that you led me towards, I learned about relationship, with Christ, which is the ultimate, man. So it's just such a good topic. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist who's been a failure in the actual relationship and marriage department, but coaching people. And it's just, to me, it's everything. It's important. And, it's a great subject to talk about.
So you're saying that you're an LMFT, licensed marriage family therapist, yet you failed in marriage, so you can be licensed and still fall short when it comes to the actual behavior patterns in a marriage?
That's right, bro. They say some of the best coaches were not the best players, so I'm going to put it in that category.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I like that.
Not that I'm necessarily the best therapist, but when you remember, I mean, I'd like them to hear about your first couples counseling as a pastoral counseling, because it was a great story, but it's always the same things. They're pointing fingers, and she's a crazy bitch, and he's a selfish bastard, all that kind of stuff. And if it ends up working out, they're both looking at the role they played in it and then seeing the good things the other person has contributed. So you see many, many couples, it's almost like the same couple over and over again. But I remember you shared your story remember your first couples counseling experience?
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, when you're talking about relationships, this is a show where, hey, send your questions in, let us know, because we're just going to give you a little taste tonight of relationships. Because first off, we gotta separate it. We got a relationship with the universe, the higher power, with our God, and that's a whole big thing to some. Then there's relationships like I like that girl or I like that man, that type of thing. And then there's relationships like when you have a son or a daughter or a grandson or a granddaughter, or a relationship with co-workers, laborers, friends, partners, homies, just people that from everyday life, next door neighbors and all that stuff. So many different type of relationships. And I can remember, like you were talking about my first counseling session with the couple. They had a relationship, they were married, but every time they drank tequila, Cuervo Gold, they'd start boxing with each other. And they said they didn't do it when they drank anything else or did anything else, but it's just that tequila. There's something about that little spirit, that gets in people and made them want to be violent with each other. And when I counseled them, I kind of told them maybe you shouldn't drink that.
It's a simple solution. There's one thing in the equation that leads towards the problem.
Yeah.
And if you eliminate that, everything's cool. So obviously they were open to that recommendation, right?
Yeah, no, they didn't go for that. They go, man, you mean give up this thing that we love? So people are basically pretty sick. My advice to people when I meet young people all the time, they're wanting to pick up on this girl or this guy or stuff, like have a relationship, I always tell people, especially because we work with a lot of rehab people, I always tell them about rehab love. I let them know, hey, my advice is you don't get married ever, and you never have children. And a lot of times people go, well, that's crazy. And they don't listen to me most of the time, or I don't know if they ever listen to me. But my point of it is, I want to kind of push them to a point of, hey, marriage, going to Vegas, you're planning on losing your money. That's a bad gambling debt. Getting married is just about as bad. It's over 50% are going to fail right out of the gate. So marriage isn't good. And then having kids, then what happens if you like your kids? And then your kids grow up and then they leave you or they betray you or they do this to you. I mean, it's just too much work. I'm telling you, the simplistic life would just be, single.
And the Apostle Paul, I think, put that message out too, is if you don't find that one woman that you can't live without or whatever and get married, that stay single. And my dad, my whole life, same advice, kind of half joking like you, is like, hey, stay single. And I didn't listen, like nobody else listens to your advice, and they get in the rehab love and everything's great, and then they're gonna get pregnant. Like they can't even be independent. They don't have anything going on. Now they're gonna start a family, and we see way ahead the road that they're traveling, and it happens just as we see it, and it's tragic, but people are going to go down that road anyway.
Hey, I give out that unsolicited advice all the time, but here I am, like I said, 40 years I've been married now. 40 years I've been married. I got 23 grandchildren, 5 grown adult children, and I love them all, and things are great and everything like that, but it's just work. If you're not ready for work, that's why people get involved in alcohol and drugs and all that kind of stuff, because they say they want to feel better. No, you lose your feelings. You don't even get any feelings when you start doing all that kind of stuff to your body and to your mind and to your life. So relationships. Can you imagine having a good relationship? Like right now, I have a great relationship. It took me a while with God. I got to, I look at God. He ain't got a baseball bat ready to hit me for messing up. I got a God that I love, and He loves me more than I could ever imagine, and He loves me through my mess ups, my good times, my bad times, and He loves me on them. Now that's a great relationship.
It's incredible, bro. And I'm kind of new in the being a believer type thing, and when I talk to people, a lot of times people seems like they have a misunderstanding of what God is, Christianity, and a lot of people like yourself will focus, it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Well, we can't see Jesus, He's not here anymore down on earth. He's up there at the right side of the throne of God, and we have the Holy Spirit, the Paraclete, with us, if we can connect to that. And it's something that you can't understand it on an intellectual, like you'll miss it. And that was the thing with me for so long. It's got to be a heart thing. It's something that can't really be explained. It's something that can't really fully be understood. The Bible, Christianity, the relationship, and everything comes down to relationship. I think a lot of it from a psychological perspective, the relationship we have had with our parents, opposite sex parent, same sex parent, has a lot to do with our relationships in life. When I was watching your Life in a Nutshell video that you did, it was excellent, very sincere, very transparent. You broke it down about your life, and things were cool until your dad got with the other lady and then ended up taking off. There was some violence and stuff like that with your mom, and basically that was the beginning of you being fucking pissed off and getting you in the direction of violence, drugs, gangbanging, heroin.
I derailed. I went off track, and that's the thing about relationship with my dad or relationship with my mom. And a lot of you dealing with relationships, boy, it's hard. It's tough. Dealing with relationships. And that's why this is a topic we're just going to talk about a little bit tonight. But,
sure,
man, we can go into depth with this, and we'll be asking for your questions, your thoughts about what you want to know, what relationships, because Dr. Richie and I, man, between the two of us, we've lived almost 150 years. We got a lot of life we've been living, a lot of mistakes we've made, a lot of bad choices. But so make sure you send in all the questions, all the thoughts, anything you want to hear about life. We've been there. We've done that. We made the bad choice. We made the good choices, and we're standing tall today. How about you, Dr. Rich? Anything else on relationships before
bro,
we get ready to roll on to our next topic?
It's so poignant, bro. Like I said, the relationship we had with our opposite sex parent, like my mother, I don't think received love. So when I was an infant, she didn't really have the capacity to transmit warm, empathic love. Wasn't her fault. She wasn't an abusive person, whatever, just didn't have it. So I didn't receive it. And so growing up, my problematic relationships were as it related to women. And I wasn't a control freak. I wasn't a violent dude per se. But what I didn't get from my mother, I was trying to superficially get from populating the planet and just being with a million different women, became a womanizer, a mujeriego player, whatever. And I didn't help these women. I wasn't adding to them spiritually, even though everything was consensual and I was honest and all that stuff for the most part. It didn't help them. And so we keep doing damage, you know. But my relationship with my father was so good, such a supportive, loving dude. So my relationship with men have always been solid, you know. And then two, I think it has to do with the type of person we are. Like you're a alpha male, you know, and so you're a natural leader. Everything you go into, like Joseph, you rise to the top and you can't help it. It's a good thing. Some people don't want to. That's why one reason I think me and you worked well together, because I'm a good number two dude. I'm not really the leader. I can pick up the ball and run with it, or I can just whatever. And so it's just a trip how that goes. And even I remember in different therapeutic experiences in therapy, I had total insight to my problems and a good understanding, but I was still messing up. I was still, you know, having the fear of intimacy, the fear of commitment, being in a relationship and then feeling panicked that now I can't be with the rest, you know. And so it's just a real trip. And I know you talked about years when, you know, your first son was born and that lady, and you loved her, you loved him, but you just couldn't do it. You were too young. You wanted to be partying. And then Annie Sheffield earlier, that thing, and betrayal there, broken heart. And then with your wife, she's such a great lady, and you guys have hung in there for 40-something years now. But like you said, there've been some rough roads. And so it's you, it's the person, it's your commitment. I know you've always been committed, like, we're going to make this happen. Divorce wasn't going to be an option with you and Sandra, I believe, right from the beginning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, you're going to be hearing more about this, but that's all it for tonight, like I said. So make sure you send in your comments. Make sure you got any questions out, because the chopping block is just begun again, man. It's brand new, and we got more topics to talk about coming up shortly.
That's right. Love you, brother. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's all yours, Lord. Everything that I have, Lord. I know it ain't much, Lord, but take all of me.